it's pretty cool. It's the very, very last one built.
Yeah, the very last one.
And as a show car, and 4 owners from new, been owned for the last 25 years.
Right.
Yeah, it's just really cool provenance. Chasing these classic cars, it's archaeology in a lot of ways.
If we were Egyptologists,
Yeah.
we look at this stuff 6,000 years old.
Right.
Cars only go back about a little more than 100 years,
Yeah.
you know? So all the history is still reasonably fresh.
Yep.
These are such an iconic sports car. They're just great. Welcome to another episode of Jay Leno's Garage. Something very special today. We've done Mercedes Gullwings before. This one is special because it is the very last car produced. 1957 was the last year. And you know, if you're a collector, you want the first one or the last one. And this is the very last one. It isn't one of these ones that's undocumented. This one is, the factory says it is, all the paperwork says it is. So the provenance is impeccable on this car. And as you can see, it's a great looking car. I always liked German's idea of red. It never looks like Ferrari red or even Porsche red. It's more of an orangey color. This car has appeared at Pebble Beach. It's won a few awards all around. It's an older restoration, but a very, very good one. Let's bring in the gentleman who is representing this car. This car was auctioned off to raise money for AMFAR, which is a charity to help in AIDS research. Matthew, come on. Matthew Malamut. Good to see you, my friend.
Hi, Jay. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, this exciting car. So how did you get involved with this?
So I've been a car specialist with RM Sotheby's for nearly 13 years.
Right.
And I was asked to represent the very, very last Gullwing. This is chassis 750079, which was built in May 1957. And you know what? It's an incredible opportunity because you look at sets of things. You look at the last Babe Ruth bat,
Right.
the last Michael Jordan jersey. And I'm honored to be a part of your show to represent this beautiful car.
Yeah, well, no, very great. Now, I know this car is being auctioned off for charity. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And tell us about the charity.
So the charity is AMFAR, which is the Foundation for AIDS Research.
Right.
And the consignor is selling this car with a portion of the proceeds going back to AMFAR at the Wynn Hotel during Formula One weekend on November 22nd at your gala that you're hosting, Jay.
Right, well, there you go. So that'll be a lot of fun. Well, cool. So let's go over the car. You've driven this car. It's roadworthy. Was this in a collection for years? Was it used? What's the story on it?
This car was Mercedes Stanwagen, which means their show car, in 1957. And excuse my Polish, at the Poznan International Trade Fair.
Well, okay.
And then shortly after it left, it went to the US. It's had 4 owners since new.
Okay.
And it was shown at Pebble Beach in 2004 and actually took home a third-in-class award.
Okay.
The owner's had it for the last 25 years. He's taken excellent care of it. I mean, the restoration, it's old, but it looks pretty good.
No, it looks very good. Pretty good. No, it looks wonderful, actually.
And Jay, you mentioned the color. It's DB534, which is fire engine red, which was the original color. It was new.
Right.
Over special order cream leather, code 1060. And it's fully numbers matching, engine, gearbox, front kingpins, and body.
That's a great thing about these Mercedes. You know, I've got one, an older one, and I had some Mercedes specialists come in and go, is this car worth anything? And they said, oh man, everything was original, motor, you know, kingpins, everything, all lined right up.
Yeah.
Mine looks a little more worn for wear because mine was a race car for years, and I just like keeping it kind of funky looking. So, but this is very nice too. This is beautiful
And
too.
these cars are so functional. They're elegant but functional. You know, even the design coming from the W194
Yeah.
was their Le Mans racer, which they integrated a tube chassis with the Gullwing doors.
Well, people wonder why the doors open this way. It was for, there we go. And of course, the Germans, the steering wheel folds under when you get in. Let's show you what we're talking about here. So kind of make egress a little simpler. This looked like a spaceship when it came out in the 1955. People just went crazy. You know, they all say the Lamborghini Miura is the first supercar. And I'm a double mirror owner, but to me, I really consider this to be the first supercar because there was nothing like it in the 50s. This had fuel injection before. What? You mean from the airplanes? The fuel from the airplanes is in a car? It's the first production automobile to have fuel injection. So
That's correct. 3-liter Bosch fuel injection.
Right.
You look pretty good sitting there too, Jay.
Yeah, Corvette had it in 57, but Mercedes was the first. And then when you get in, you snap this wheel back up like that. Oh, but just great. We'll drive this car in just a minute. Drum brakes all the way around. Discs had yet to be invented. Well, they were invented. Jaguar had them in the early races, but they weren't on production cars yet. So, but the brakes are very, very good.
So Jay, I did the Mille Miglia in my family's 300 SL Gullwing that my dad bought as his dream car when he sold his business in 1999.
Wow.
We did 1,000 miles without a hitch.
Yeah.
In, you know, heat, rain, and you come down into these Italian cities, you open the doors as you're driving, and the people in Italy, they're cheering you along because it's just such a presence.
The little girl gives you the little orange juice thing.
Yeah. You know, the 300 SL Gullwing it's one of the few cars that they built over 1,000 of them that regularly trade for in the millions and millions of dollars.
Right,
and this being the last one, it's such a special opportunity.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, Hoffman was the guy who brought these into the United States. Mercedes-Benz didn't think they could sell enough, so Hoffman said, I'll buy 1,400 of them, I think it was. Yeah, and okay, sure. And he
sold them out.
Sold every one, yeah.
A couple of weeks ago, we just sold a project, one of 29 alloy body Gullwings that came from the Rudy Klein junkyard sale.
Oh,
and it brought a world record. It sold for $9,355,000 at auction. And yeah, it's just the hype on these cars is so real.
And it needs everything, doesn't it?
That car needed a full restoration. It hadn't ran in over 50 years.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing. Well, let's open the hood up and show people what we got here. So it's not just a trailer queen. Oh, okay. As you can see, beautifully stock. Everything is exactly where it's supposed to be. Some people chrome things up and change fans or whatnot, but this is exactly what would have left the factory.
Notice the German hose clamps as well. A lot of people convert those to American hose clamps, but that's correct as well, and it's very authentic and very honest.
Brake master cylinder here. Here is your dry sump oiling system. You check it here. Notice those are the German clamps, right?
Yep.
Yeah, those are the proper ones from the factory. This was such an extremely well-built automobile. You know, most Italian sports cars kind of finicky in this period. You had to massage them and do things, the electrical systems, but these were unbelievable. And this was built with no budget. I mean, Mercedes had been wiped out during the war, the factories bombed. That's why they used this motor. It wasn't the most powerful thing, but it's the only thing they had, so they turned it on its side, put the fuel injection in it, did whatever they could to get as much power as they could.
You could do 140 in one of these cars all day long. It just feels like you're cruising down the highway.
Oh, yeah. Just amazing. Just amazing. Okay. Move that in. And like the Corvette, you just drop it from the center, correct?
Right.
Right about here?
Yep.
I like the stock wheels. A lot of guys put the Rudge wheels on, but those are even heavier than these, actually. So these are actually the lighter wheel with the hubcap. I love the bullet mirrors. Very nice. You got the fitted luggage. And that's a custom color interior that was optional?
Yeah, that was a special order cream leather. You know, you could have them in that Scottish plaid cloth, or you could order leather as an extra additional option.
And the gas tank is hilarious because you realize there's no room in the back here. Let's show that. We need the key. Let's see here. As you can see, you have no trunk at all.
You got to have room for that huge gas tank when you're doing those long drives.
See the massive gas. What is it, like 30? Is it 30 gallons, something like that?
I forget. It's somewhat in liters, to be honest.
Yeah.
Can't do the conversion.
As you can see, there's just no room at all, but
yeah.
Very nice, very nice. Just shuts with that Mercedes clunk. There's always a bit of theater with these cars. You do this to fold down the steering wheel. You can do it without folding it down, but I think it's just easier. Here you
Good
go.
thing you're not wearing a dress, Jay.
That's right. That's right. And of course, you have this big sill because you've got this chassis that is up here. So the car sits nice and low. When compared to cars from the 50s, it's amazing how low this car sits. Then you snap your wheel back in and ready to continue motoring. You got your tachometer here, speedometer here, fuel. You've got the oil.
Wind-up clock.
Wind-up clock, which I love.
Yeah.
I love systems
doesn't love a wind-up clock?
that work independently of each other, yeah.
And your radio.
Your temperature, water temperature, fuel pumps. These are your fuel pumps here. Lights, heater controls, of course, radio. Yeah, just an amazingly complete car. When you realize most British sports cars didn't even have roll-up windows. You had to put the plastic curtains in and all that. None of that here. Just watertight and just wonderful cars to drive. Matthew, hop in. We'll take it for a spin.
No problem, Jay.
Do you use the auxiliary fuel pump when you start?
Yep.
Okay.
Just pull this one out.
Good.
Then your enrichment pump on the
Right.
left.
And there's a passenger horn, which is, I guess that's for a navigator. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I can operate that.
Yeah. Shut this down. Which is very nice.
Off we go.
What's it so noisy?
Maybe just the fuel pump.
No.
See?
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You got
I
it.
mean,
It sounded like tappets, didn't it?
yeah, yeah. It's just a mechanical fuel pump.
When I worked at a Mercedes-Benz dealership in Boston
Oh yeah.
in the late 60s, early 70s. A guy traded one of these in. We gave him $5 grand for it. My boss sold it for $7,500 and thought, oh my God, that's the biggest profit they ever made.
Right.
It just seemed like an unbelievable, you know.
Imagine putting something in a junkyard and it being almost $10 million, 50 years later.
But you know, you never know what's going to be, what's
Yeah.
going to be valuable.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, guys would buy 59 Cadillacs for $300 or $400 to go into demolition derbies.
Right.
And I remember like 25 years ago or so, I was at Pebble Beach. My friend said, I'm buying a 59 Caddy. I said, how much you spend on it? He goes, 75. I go, 7,500? That's crazy. He goes, no, 75,000. I go, really? There's 70? Because you just get that thing in your head.
I don't think I'd do a demolition derby.
Huh?
Said I don't think I would do a demolition derby in the, what was it you said, a 58?
Any of those 50s cars.
Yeah.
Because you never thought they'd be valuable.
Right.
Because they were just big gas eaters.
Yeah.
And, and the Mustang had just come out and, all those kind of cars. But this is an amazing car.
Is it nice how smooth that fuel injection
It's
is?
smooth, it's fast. I mean, horsepower figures have gotten so nutty. I've got that 62 Maserati 350 GTI. I'm reading the Road and Track road test. The guy says, why anybody needs 220 horsepower in a car is beyond me, but I'll take it, because, it was so crazy fast.
And that's got to drive like a truck too. Feel how this feels when you're steering it, you're braking it. It's
the
smooth.
Maserati you mean, or this?
Yeah, the Maserati.
Oh, the Maserati's actually pretty good.
You're not truckish? The touring body cars?
No, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Mine's pretty good.
Yours is pretty good. It's probably dialed in. I drove one once. They had what? They went to that Lucas fuel injection?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, feel that pull too.
Oh, yeah, it's one of the great cars. And this steering box is much tighter than mine. I sent mine up to Canada to get
That's pretty cool. It's the very, very last one built.
Yeah, the very last one.
And as a show car and 4 owners from new, been owned for the last 25 years.
Right.
Yeah, it's just really cool provenance. Chasing these classic cars, I mean, it's like, it's archaeology in a lot of ways. You're uncovering history of a car that's been sitting.
That's right. If we were Egyptologists, we'd look at this stuff 6,000 years old.
Right.
Cars only go back about a little more than 100 years, you know? So all the history is still reasonably fresh.
Yep.
And I like that it's meant to be a driver. It's not one of these Conqueror things where, any miles deduct another $1,000 or whatever it is.
The cars are meant to be driven.
Yeah.
And these are one of these cars that's like, put it in the garage, let it be, come back a few weeks later, turn the key, it starts up. You know, it's like the Germans were so far ahead of like the Brits, you know.
Yeah.
The SU carbureted cars are sitting there.
Oh, it sounds great.
Yeah.
And what kind of watch is that you got there?
It's a 1978 Submariner.
Oh, Submariner, Rolex, right?
Yeah.
This is a 1924 Vacheron, what's called the 1921. It's what they call a driver's watch. You see, it's off to the side, so when you're holding a big steering wheel, you can see what time it is.
So if we traded watches, would that be a good trade or a bad trade?
It'd be a bad trade for me. Wait, you see the way the crown is way up here and the whole thing is Vacheron Constantine is what? Yeah, great. Just a great watch. I mean, you could drive this to Vegas or San Francisco or anywhere.
And we did 1,000 miles. In Italy, we shipped our car over there last year for the Mille. I mean, you'd see all the Italian cars, you'd see all the British cars broken down. And somebody asked me, says, well, who's your support team?
Yeah.
And I said, what support team? You know, I got my mom, she's kind of tagging along in the rental car. Guess she's my support team. What's one car that was like my job hunting down some of the rarest cars? What was one car that you were after that you were hunting?
Well, one I thought I'd never get was the Chrysler Turbine car. We built our own turbine car, so I never thought I'd get one. Then when we finished the EcoJet, Chrysler went bankrupt, so I started calling the banks, see who owned it. I said, you want to sell any of the parts? Yeah, they could. I remember when I told him what I paid for it, he goes, you know it's not a new car, you know it's an old car. I go, yeah, I know it's an old car. Plenty of power.
Yeah. And these seats are nice and comfy too.
Yeah, they are. I'm so tired of the buttock clutching Recaro racing seat.
Right.
I just sit in this thing.
Well, these still have a nice bucket to them, you know. So you're in them, but they're soft, they're comfortable. That that special order cream leather. You know, it's just. And
the green and the Gullwing door still makes you feel like it's the future.
Right.
You know, even though the car's 50 years, 60 years old. Well, I must say it runs and drives very nicely. I think it'll be, whoever buys this is not going to get any surprises. I didn't see any fluids when it was parked, leaking. I don't smell, a lot of cars just smell gas because of the rotted fuel line or whatever. No, everything seems very nice.
They're getting a great running and driving car.
Yeah.
It's also, a benchmark for Mercedes history, being the last car.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard the other day that somebody paid $10 million for Michael Jordan's last game-worn jersey.
That's funny, isn't it? Yeah.
This, at least you can drive. What are you going to do with the Jordan jersey? You're going to put it on and wear it?
I had Michael Jordan on The Tonight Show.
Did you?
In the early days, in the 90s. He said, I got a line of sneakers coming out. He's a pair. Oh, thanks. I put them away somewhere. I don't know. And a couple of years ago, I'm in Vegas. You got an auction coming up. And again, we auctioned on the Michael Jackson. How much you get? 1.8 million. I go,
goodness.
Where are those sneakers? I'm in my house running. I can't find. I know they're around somewhere. I can't find them. I never wore them, so they're still in the box.
And you can never have enough cars, right, Jay?
Exactly. It's so funny because this doesn't feel like 1957.
No.
It feels like a more modern car from even the 80s or not. I mean, you got plenty of power. It's comfortable. It's quiet. It's a lot quieter than a lot of modern sports cars.
Even if you're not a car person and you see a Mercedes 300 SL Gullwing, it's something that's different.
Yeah, right.
It's something that's special. it's crazy. It's, you know, Mercedes, their dominance, you know, from the beginning of racing to even today, you know, Formula One. You know, last year at the win in Vegas, we sold Lewis Hamilton's Mercedes Formula One car that was used in his first season with them. I think it did like $18 million.
Boy, that's crazy.
It's
I
crazy.
remember when old race cars weren't worth anything.
Yeah.
I mean, you could barely give them away. I enjoy watching the tax sweep across.
Yeah. That's 71,000 miles on the clock.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you having me on your show.
No, thanks for doing it. I appreciate it. I'm sure this will bring a good price.
It was fun just getting to cruise along with you.
Well, if anybody's looking at this car with the intent of buying it, I would recommend it. It rides about as good as you're going to get. You forget in the 50s, steering obviously was not power steering, and neither were brakes. So it takes a little more muscle, but nothing certainly excessive. And just a wonderful car to drive. Just very exciting. In a lot of ways, more exciting than modern supercars because you get the feeling of going faster when you're not going that fast, you know. And yeah, it's just beautiful. Matthew, thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem, Jay.
And,
appreciate it.
Our friends at RM, anytime you got an interesting car you're trying to sell, let us know. We'll put it up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
Give me a call as well.
Yeah, this is, you know, I don't get a chance to compare my car to other cars because there are so few Gullwings around, but this one is really nice, very nice.
Yeah.
I mean, the fit and finish, doors shut. Mine was an old race car, so it's a bit clapped out, but this is great.
You'd think by having the final one, the final show car, Mercedes probably had them pretty dialed in at the very end of production.
Well, that's the thing, you know, that's the nice thing about not getting the first one off the line.
Yeah.
But with Mercedes quality, though, you really don't have to worry about that much.
That's right.
Anyway, I hope you like this piece of history. It was great fun getting a chance to drive it, and I'm curious to see, by the time this airs, it would have already been sold, so I'm guessing 2.5 million.
I think it's much more significant, being the last car.
Right.
I think this car could do 3.5, could do more. You just never know at an auction.
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah.
Check it out. See you guys next week. Thanks.
Thank you, Jay.